Would you please join me in a salute to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. If you haven't signed the register in the back, we'd appreciate it if you would do so. Roll call of the board.
Ms. Stone. Mr. Giffen.
Present.
Mr. Hernandez. Ms. Quintero.
Present.
Mr. Crouch.
Present.
Mr. Crouch,
Mr. Giffen?
at this time I move that we approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Okay, I have an item I'd like to pull from you.
On
from you.
consent, right?
No, it's under general functions.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Okay, at this time then, yeah, I would pull item, I didn't even look at it, item 4B to be addressed at a future meeting.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Giffen.
Aye.
Ms. Quintero.
Aye.
Mr. Crouch.
Aye. Mr. Giffen, do you have any governing board comments?
Well, it's hard to believe. I was just looking here, I did some quick math, and it was 22 years ago I walked in that door for the first time, so it's been I haven't been on the board all that time, but it was 22 years ago I started, so, and it's kind of bittersweet. I've really enjoyed my time here, but I do have to say that I'm leaving the district in good hands. We got somebody here that's going to make Sunnyside great again. But we have a great board now, and with the direction and leadership of Mr. Holmes, we're going to achieve great things in this district, and our kids are going to be the ones that achieve all of the benefits from this. So other than that, thank you very much, and this is it's just it's just overwhelming. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Giffen. Ms. Quintero?
That made me teary-eyed. My mentor. So, yes, thank you for your support, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Mr. Giffen. So if you're happy to have me, thank him. If you're not, blame him, okay? So I also want to make sure that everybody has a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy Kwanzaa. Enjoy your vacation, but please come back in January.
And I'd like to just continue on that vein. There are so many festivities going on within the school district right now. People are happy and celebrating, very, very positive, and just wonderful to be out there. If you get a chance to go to any of the schools and visit them, it's well worth your while. So thank you. Mr. Holmes, Superintendent's report, please.
Yes, Mr. President Crouch, members of the governing board, the Honorable Mr. Giffen, and audience. So we have our timer for the Hour of Code. So this week, the Hour of Code will be returning for a 4th year in many of the classrooms. Hour of Code started as a 1-hour introduction to computer science and designed to demystify code and to show that anyone can learn the basis of computer science. It has since become a worldwide effort to celebrate computer science, and teachers have been encouraged to sign up for their Hour of Code and has been given many options and resources and activities for sharing the excitement of coding for students. So I don't know if your kids are on Minecraft, but mine don't get off of that. So I have to take them that program, which has a lot of basic coding functions that I think kids are learning a lot from. We had Fiesta Bowl grant awardees. Here's the 2 devils there. I think NJ and Mr. Marcos there. This past week, we received news that Sunnyside is receiving 3 grant awards from the Fiesta Bowl. So Sunnyside High School librarian Kate Street and Barbara McDonald submitted proposal and received a check for $30,000. from the Fiesta Bowl Charities to expand the Writing Center in the library. So it's great work and commitment to those wonderful women there. We also have Fiesta Bowl Wishes for Teachers programs, awarded $5,000 to Sunnyside's Marty Wiggins for student transportation to take field trips as part of their scientific study on the effects of trichloride and 1,4-dioxane, did I spell it right? Contaminant in the water. The second Fiesta Bowl Wishes for Teachers award of $5,000 is going to Sunnyside Sue Lara to help her with new incentives for her students through their Devil Dollar Student Store initiative. So we have 3 winners. So thank you very much, Fiesta Bowl grantees. We also have keeping teens and tweens safe. So district staff and high school students held a town hall meeting for parents and families last week. The town hall focused was on keeping teens and tweens healthy and safe from drug use and other social peer pressure behaviors. High school Yes Club students used a visual survey to present their message to parents, while Tucson Police and several local resource partners provided facts on current trends in drug abuse. Great event for our community. We also had our Desert View Freshman Academy mobile office. Great idea from our principal there, Ms. Rosemary Rosas. So Desert View Freshman Academy Leadership started its innovative mobile office this past week at the Valencia Library. And the idea is the mobile office is taking the school office staff and leaders out to the families with answers to questions of grades, attendance, tutoring, counseling, and more. And so the mobile office will be changing locations each month, with the next location being at San Javier Educational Center. So it's a great idea from, good job, Rosemary. We also had our Raytheon Math Night. Last week, Sunnyside High School held a great, successful math night thanks to the many teachers and staff volunteers with over 90 Raytheon employee volunteers. There are 13 teachers, 2 teacher assistants, and 3 administrators to help supervise and facilitate in the classroom some great support for mathematics. There was a record-breaking 377 students who took advantage of the extra tutoring with the Raytheon engineers. If you've never been there, the whole 500 hall, every single classroom was packed wall to wall, having to bring extra tables and chairs. I know Mr. Crouch and I were able to witness that for ourselves. What a great event and opportunity for our kids. And the great thing is the teachers are doing a wonderful job because the kids are showing up. And that means a lot. When you have that many students showing up for tutoring and support, I think it says a lot about the culture that's being built there at Sunnyside High School. So great work, Sunnyside. U.S. Presidential Scholar in CTE. Congratulations to Desert View Hospitality Academy student Joseph Olog for being selected as one of the 5 Arizona nominees for U.S. Presidential Scholars in Career and Technical Education. Joseph was chosen among 50 nominations submitted across the state, and he's actually a student in the DECA program. He's an officer that's represented the state as well. What a wonderful young man, just to see him representing us well as a community. But also to see the look on his mother as she was celebrating him as well, which is why we do these things and why our students really step up to make their families proud, and he's done a wonderful job. So congratulations, Joseph. We'll actually be honoring him in January at the next January meeting. Elvira students learned about recess here last week. Brian Aller from the Pima County Health Department trained Elvira Student Council members on safe, organized, and structured recess activities. The training included equipment-specific games and playground zones and leadership strategies for the students. So there's Brian, who did a wonderful job with our Elvira kids. Also, for our academic decathlon, the Sunnyside Academic Decathlon completed in an event, 10-event full scrimmage at Canyondero High School. There were 14 teams who competed at this event, in which Sunnyside earned many awards. A special note is senior Shaquan Diaz, who received a first place in science, first place in language and literature, and second place in speech, along with several fourth and fifth place awards in the other topic areas. Sharp young man there. He's got a bunch of medals and certificates. So that concludes our superintendent's report. Really quickly, just so I can, a special highlight that's here, which is our Angel Tree celebration. So this past week, showcased here is we celebrate 6th annual Angel Tree for families in need. This year, we identified 33 youth who are on their own and receive donations of clothing, gift cards, to grocery stores, shoes, blankets, household items, and even a bike, based on a wish list that they filled out. Unusual this year was the overwhelming sponsorship of students by local businesses. So in addition to the Angel Tree, we had 8 families adopted by agencies and individuals. So it was wonderful, another event that many of us were in attendance. And our students are just so gracious, and I think that's a great representation of the students that we have in our community. So thank you, and hopefully everyone has a great holiday season.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Next, we have recognitions. If the board and Mr. Holmes would join me in front. For the first one, I'd like Councilman Freenbreech to join me up here. I believe you're on. Yes.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Richard Freenbreech, your councilman for Ward 5, City of Tucson. Forgive my voice. I was yelling at people today, so that's just kidding. But I'm here to recognize some outstanding folks that really give a lot to our community. And it's very evident this last, when did we do it? October, we did the spay and neuter clinic again at Los Ranchitos. The school board graciously allowed us to use Ranchitos again. Over the last 2 years, we've had 1,600 animals, dogs and cats, spayed and neutered for our facilities. It didn't cost anybody other than time to be there to do it. And we also gave out vaccinations with AWASA, Pima Animal Control Humane Center, Pat Hubbard, Clara, and Dr. Carter Neal. So I want to thank them. I think we deserve a round of applause because we had so many unwanted letters, and we kept getting police reports about dogs being thrown in plastic bags, so we were able to solve this problem, and we're still moving on it, and they're so happy to be working with us, and we're probably going to hit the board up again for another project. So the first person I want to recognize is your superintendent, who's always willing to help the community, and is always willing to come out, and it's hard, he hardly ever says no. So we really appreciate that effort. And this certificate says, on behalf of the Ward 5 Council Office, I would like to thank you for your assistance to our community. Your leadership has assisted many individuals, families, and their beloved pets. It is with honor that this certificate is presented to you in appreciation for your work on the 2016 Mass Spay and Neuter Clinic. Once again, our thanks, and we look forward to working with you on future projects that benefit our community. The key to success is through education. So, Superintendent. One of the things I started when I came into 2009, because we were in the middle of the deepest recession, almost similar to the Great Depression, was create a medallion of hope, because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and we can never give up hope. And I presented this to so many citizens in our community that do so much. When the chips get down, we don't point fingers, we don't scapegoat, we don't place blame. We just roll up our sleeves and get the job done as a community. And that's why we're so good at that. And Sunnyside has always been one of those school districts that always does that. So with that.
Thank you.
Our next recipient is Dr. Eugenia Favela. Eugenia. The certificate reads the same, but we want to thank you so much for your work, helping us organize this mass spay and neuter clinic and present the Medallion of Hope also. Sonia Valencia. Oh, Sonia, come on. Sonia's always there to help us. Sonia, it's much for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gonzalez, Armando, not here. We'll give it to you. Johnny Lopez. Johnny, come on up. Johnny, thank you so much for your work. Nino Sánchez. Nino, no está aquí. Chris Higgins. Chris. Chris, thank you so much. The Sheriff's Department, but it's great. My friend, thank you. John Woodrum. You're not here? Hope he's working. Lorraine Rodriguez. That's an excuse. No, it's fine. Victor Martinez. Victor. Victor, thank you so much, buddy. Here. Yes. Now, this individual is very special. He's given a lot to our community. I think he said 22 years, 24. And his certificate says, congratulations on your retirement. As a Sunnyside Unified School District Board member, your leadership has been key to our community. We thank you for your dedication and service. You have touched the lives of many by helping to improve their quality of life. On behalf of the Ward 5 Council Office, it is with great honor that this certificate is presented to you in appreciation. Your knowledge and expertise will be missed. Thank you for a job well done. Enjoy your retirement. And this young lady, I've known her family for a long time, and they've been really good. And at the last FBI Community Service Awards, she wasn't able to make it, but we wanted to present her with her FBI LULAC Community Service Award for all the work she does. And that's your board member, Becky Quintero. And I want to present her with the Medallion of Hope, because if you don't know the Hederas and the Quinteros, they work so hard in our community to improve the quality of life for so many. So with that, Becky, God bless you. Thank you all. I'll be back with a better voice next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Councilman Fimbres and his office, Mark, wonderful, always been a great support, and thank you for all. And we'll keep working on getting our community animals spayed and neutered, so I think that's a great opportunity. I know Dr. Favela has been a great help, so wow, wow.
Next, I'd like to ask Evelyn Ripley, Sheila Bellatoni, Pat Alt, Colleen Hay, Rosemary Fitzpatrick, and they're representing the Sweater Nanas and Papas of Green Valley.
We really don't like.
The Sunnyside Unified School District Governing Board would like to recognize you for your talents and commitments to knitting sweaters and caps for Ocotillo kindergartners. The Sweater Nanas and Papas of Green Valley have donated over 450 sets over the last 3 years. Your generosity of hand-knit items allows our littlest students to remain warm during the cooler winter months. On behalf of the families and staff at Ocotillo Learning Center and the Sunnyside School District, we thank you for your dedication to our schools and community. Paul, would you like to say something? Would you like to say something?
Yeah, sure, always. Give me the mic. So every day at Ocotillo is my favorite day, but there are a couple of really, really favorite days, and one of them is the day each year when the Sweater Nanas come and Papa come to Ocotillo and hand out the sweaters and the caps. It's really an exciting time for our little kids who, many of them never have the opportunity to have something so beautiful and especially handmade. The ladies start the morning reading the children a children's book about knitting. And many of our kids don't even know what that is. They don't know what a knitting needle is or what a skein of yarn is or anything. And they learn those things. And then each child gets to choose his or her own sweater and cap. And there is no judgment about what they choose. We have boys who choose pink and girls who choose olive, and there is no judgment about it. They get to take whatever they want. And we have first graders now who got their sweaters last year who are still wearing their sweaters this year, and they'll wear those sweaters even when it's 100 degrees outside, and they will. So it's a really, really fun day, and I always throw out some invitations a couple weeks beforehand. I'll do that if we get the opportunity to experience this again next year. I will let you all know because it's really fun to come and see. It's a very, very, very special day, and I am grateful for our school, for our community, and thank you so much, and please pass on my thanks to all of your friends. There's over 100 people who knit throughout the year, and so thank you so much. Really very special. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe. The certificate says, Sweater Nanas and Papas of Green Valley, the Sunnyside Unified School District Governing Board would like to recognize you for your talents and commitment to knitting sweaters and caps for the Ocotillo kindergartners. On behalf of the families and staff at Ocotillo Learning Center and the Sunnyside School District, we thank you for your dedication to our schools and community.
It's always a pleasure to go to Ocotillo. Mr. Paul and his staff are just wonderful to work with. We always feel so welcomed, and it's a win-win for the kids and also for the nanas. We get the hugs and the smiles, and it's a good thing. So thank you.
And it's always so much fun to watch.
I know you were there. It was good.
It was great. Well, Ocotillo is always fun, but it's a very special day when you guys are there.
It is.
Thank you so much. The next recognition is for Mr. Eric Giffen, Governing Board Member, Master of Boardsmanship, Second Cluster. For 17 years, or 4 terms of service to the employees and families of the Sunnyside Unified School District, we thank you for your advocacy and commitment to ensuring the diverse educational needs of all children are met and that they're prepared for college and career success. Because of your leadership and dedication to the Sunnyside community, our students are engaged in meaningful learning opportunities and are prepared to contribute to a diverse, rapidly changing global society when they graduate. I would like to read the plaque to you. Okay. This is the plaque that was prepared for Mr. Giffen. In recognition of Eric Giffen, Governing Board Member, thank you for your advocacy and commitment to ensuring the diverse educational needs of all students. Your 17 years of leadership and dedication to the Sunnyside community have prepared our students for college and career success. Our community, our students, and our staff are thankful for your dedication to giving our students meaningful learning opportunities and preparing them to contribute to the diverse, rapidly changing global society when they graduate. Mr. Giffen, thank you so much. You have been a role model to me as well as Becky.
And because two wasn't enough. We need to give you another one. I can't read it. It's awesome. It was made by the students at engineering, right? Which one? JTED. Precision. So,
Well, I'll read it if you like. It says, "In appreciation to Eric Giffen, governing board member, Master of Boardsmanship second cluster, for your outstanding contributions to the students and families of the Sunnyside Unified School District, and for faithful, dedicated service in representing your community as a governing board member." And it's gorgeous, and
It's laser engraved.
That's really good. I just thank everybody for everything. This has been an unbelievable evening, so thank you. Thank you.
Just briefly, Mr. Giffen, just thank you for your leadership and your guidance and support and actually setting us on the right path. And we're committed here on tape to make you proud and let you know that we're continue the great work that you've begun. So thank you so much for
I'll keep an eye on you.
Yes, sir, please. You can always come back.
Thank you.
And I believe there are still cake. That concludes our recognition for the evening.
oh, we do.
Doesn't matter. There are no call of the audience. Next on the agenda is consent agenda.
Mr. Crouch,
Mr. Giffen.
this time I would move that we approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Giffen?
Aye.
Mr. Carroll?
Aye.
Mr. Crouch?
Aye. Next item on the agenda under general functions is Star Academic High School center proposal. Ms. Gagos? And we seem to have a committee behind you.
So, good evening. I would like to introduce you to Ms. Marcia Flores, who is here with a couple of her students, and they want to talk to you about a proposal to rename our Star Academy. So, Ms. Flores and students, please come over here.
Good evening, President Crouch, members of the Governing Board, and Superintendent Mr. Holmes. My name is Marcia Flores, and I'm the principal of Star Academic Center. I'm here this evening with 3 of my students representing Star, who would like to share our request to officially change our school name, mascot, and our school colors at Star.
Good evening, President Crouch, Governing Board members, and Superintendent Mr. Holmes. My name is Michael McAdams, and I'm a senior at Star Academic Center. At the beginning of the school year, I heard that my principal, Ms. Flores, was planning to have our school rebranded. I quickly jumped at the opportunity to speak on my behalf. Now, I didn't choose to go to Star. I was sent there after my freshman year at Desert View. However, what some might see as punishment, I now see as my best opportunity. Star has helped me become a better student, as it has with so many others. Yet, with the title of Academic Center, Star hasn't gotten the recognition and respect that it deserves. As Graduation draws near. I can't help but to picture my high school diploma. I'm going to receive it, and it may read academic center rather than high school. STAR has been more than a high school to me. It's a home away from home where I'm preparing my future, and rebranding that stands for that. The reason we chose our mascot to be a lion was to reflect how proud we are and how strong we are. We want our colors to be black and gold because they are as powerful as we are. Tonight, I'm not only representing myself, I'm representing all my peers at STAR. If you would support these changes, you will shed light on what has become a wonderful institution. I thank you for your consideration of this rebranding process and for your time.
Good evening, President Couch, Governing Board, and Superintendent Mr. Holmes. My name is Edgar Alcantara. I am currently a senior at STAR Academic Center. This evening, I would like to present my opinion on the rebranding of STAR. Throughout the year and a half period of attending STAR, I have become a more knowledgeable person, making me feel stronger and more ready for the real world, like any other regular high school would. Due to this, I feel it deserves the title of a high school and not academic center. As many of my peers and I get closer to graduation and having a diploma in our hands, we feel like we're graduating in a minority by not having high school in our diplomas and having worked as hard the 4 years. Changing our mascot to a lion will define our school as a more powerful school, and that defines our students. You see, lions always fight for what they want, and many of the students from STAR have fought for their diplomas throughout their problems and personal issues because they really wanted them. The lion gives a representation of leadership which many of the students at STAR are big leaders. The color switch from purple and gold to black and gold. Black represents more strength, and as gold is a strong color and many times represents authority. I feel like the black is comfortable to the students as black is mysterious. Is a mysterious color, and many of the STAR students are mysteries yet to be solved. Thank you for these changes. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for taking these changes for STAR into consideration. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carla Salazar. I'm a singer. I go to STAR. And well, I had come a long way from STAR. I decided to go there because my credits were really bad and I need to catch up. So my friend recommended STAR, so I went there. And I feel like it's time for a change because we're a community. Like, you guys are really big of a community, and that's where it starts. Like, if we want to change the community, we need to start with the school. So the school needs to rebrand. Like, we need to show who we really are. Like, and we're not a bunch of kids that just could start seen as as a reject school or kids that are dumb or something, but we're not. We have a lot to offer. We're really creative, artistic, and outgoing individuals. And we're doubted, but we go to school every day and do what we have to do to graduate. I also think our color should be black and gold, because black represents strength, authority, and gold representing passion and wisdom. We're more than that, but that's just a few things. Also, and the mascot, I really wish should be the lions, because, I mean, come on. We are. A starfish, these lions, that's just more fierce, more power to be who we are, to do better, and just to feel good, you know? And I also think, sorry, that we all have a story, we all have something to say, and just STAR, that's what STAR does to us, it helps us. Stuff. But I just think it would be good for us to get a new opportunity for people to see that STAR is changing, and STAR is not just where kids want to go to. STAR is not where you send kids that you don't want, because kids want to be there because there's actually something good going on there, and you learn, and the staff is amazing. So there's not much to be said about that. So thank you for your time, and I hope you guys choose the right choice.
Yes, and some questions?
Yeah.
Should we ask some questions?
Ms. Quintero has a question?
Sure. You want to come back so we can ask you questions? So when you did a survey of the kids, how many participated in the survey?
Everyone.
Everyone
in the school.
Everyone in the school.
Definitely more than half, but we don't know the exact percentage.
Yeah. Those numbers were up there.
They were giving out to everybody that day in the school.
Yeah.
So when you want to change STAR to high school, STAR is unique and amazing. So would the flexibility that kids get to have there stay the same? Would it be as flexible as it is now?
Yes, it will be the same school, but I feel like, well, we all feel like this way, that it would change the way that people look at the school mostly overall. So that's what we're
And like the
mostly.
majority of people that attend START are high school students, so that's what, I mean, they're not like, the center is like, what is the center?
Well, center was there because of the Safe Kids, I believe, and some other programs that were going on there. So now we're fully a high school, and we do have high school programs like JTIP, so I believe we are supposed to be high school as Desert View and Sunnyside.
I don't think that changing the name of the school is going to change the things that go on there. STAR is just progressing more and more every year, and I think it's that with the changing of the name, it's going to reflect that a lot better in the next years to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very brave.
Right?
Mr. Giffen? Oh, you're not off the hook yet.
Mr. Crouch. I see now you're all three seniors, and are all three of you scheduled midterm graduation, or
I am.
you're going to
I
graduate
graduate
this
high
month?
school.
Okay.
I'm graduating class of 2017 with my class as well.
Okay. And you also? Okay, terrific. Well, very good. So, well, I'll see you, that'll be my last graduation, so I'll see you on the 22nd.
That's
So-
why you should make the choice.
Then I'll see you at Star Academic High School.
Go Lions.
I want to thank the students that came forward. Very brave to do so. It was very tasteful what you've done. It's very professional. I appreciate the research you did, the consulting of the past history and understanding what was going on, and the excellent presentation you gave on why we should make the change. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Holmes, did you have a comment?
Just a brief comment. I'll ask you about 5 more questions. No. I meant 5. Just getting to know these students under the leadership of Ms. Flores, I'm very impressed with the quality of students, which isn't a surprise to many of us, but most importantly, I think you guys represent well. The conversations that you have, that you're thinking about what you're going to do next, but more importantly, you're thinking about the current issues. And this is one of them that, you've taken the right approach to making sure you're advocating for yourselves and for your school. And that's what we want all our seniors to graduate with, having that type of voice that you represented here tonight. And so I feel very proud of seeing you graduate in a couple next week, because I think that you've done well. And more important, I think, Ms. Flores, thank you for your leadership. Can't be lost for what you're doing there in STAR, and the continued push to continue to make academics a great focus in your future success. So I'll see you guys in May, but I'll see you in December. Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Quintero?
I would like to make the recommendation for approval as submitted for the modification of Star School name, mascot, and colors.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Mr. Giffen.
Aye.
Ms. Quintero.
Aye.
Mr. Crouch.
Aye, motion passes. Congratulations. Mr. Holmes?
Just a question for that. And this change will take effect immediately, just so that the students would know? Is that correct? Okay.
I think that was the board's intention.
Okay.
That'll be on their diplomas.
You got it.
We do have a graduation next week.
That's right. We have a picture of a lion, Miss Veras.
A fierce one.
Since we've tabled item 4B, we're moving on to 4C, which is district-wide water testing results and composting update. Mr. Encinas?
Thank you, Mr. Crouch. Thank you, Mr. Crouch, Governing Board, Superintendent Holmes. Mr. Fernando Valencia, our Assistant Director of Maintenance, has gone around the school district to conduct some testing of the water supplies at the various sites of the school district. And tonight he's here to bring you the results of phase 1 of his testing. And I'll just turn it over to him to make the presentation and answer any questions you may have.
Good evening, President Crouch, board members, Superintendent Holmes. As you can see here, we did a seven-step test of all the facilities we have in the district. They were taken out of the drinking fountains, just random drinking fountains, first ones we came to that the kids use all the time. The one, as Mr. Encina said, phase 1 here doesn't have the lead on it because the testing didn't come in until tomorrow, the test kit that we ordered a couple months ago. Although I did speak with Tucson Water, and they have a program called Get Low, which is Get the Lead Out program, and they have found pipes, but they weren't in the district. So they assured me of that. They said that there is a map. I'm trying to get my hands on it. They're not willing to give it up. I told them I didn't want to know where the lead was or anything like that. I just wanted to know that we didn't have anything. So I did talk to the customer service rep there, and in connection with the supervisors as well. We have about 38 drinking fountains throughout the district that we're trying to replace with the new ones with the bottle filler. So that way the students can bring their own bottles, refill it, and save water that way.
Mr. Holmes?
Just make a brief comment. And one of the reasons we're getting ahead of this is, as a community, we have been plagued with issues of water quality. And so rather than find out later, we rather get ahead and know what the quality of our water is. And so this was the first stage of that analysis, just to see what's the quality of our water in general, followed by some confirmation from Tucson Water regarding if there's anything in our area that should be some concern about, that we actually received no, again, confirmation that there weren't any pipes that they're aware of. But we're going to do our own lead testings at this second phase that we'll also bring back, just to be, proactive on these issues that unfortunately people are finding out about later. And so, just in case they were wondering why we went around doing this, it's been a concern of our governing board for quite some time to make sure that the quality of our water is continued because of our historical context. It's important. So I just want to make sure that was real clear.
And as you can see on the spreadsheet, I think the biggest issue we have is the hardness of the water. That's all around Tucson, but if you have any questions,
Mr. Given?
No, I don't have a thing.
Very well stated. Thank you.
Thank you. And also the composting, we're not doing food compost yet, but we are doing the mulching of the trees. We are saving 2 to 3 trips to the landfill with green waste, and that's averaging about $105 a day that we're saving, bringing it back here, chipping it up, and then trying to redirect it throughout the district.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valencia. Next item on the agenda is the new state Arizona minimum wage implementation. Where are you going?
She's leaving, she said.
She's walking out.
Good evening, President Crouch, members of the board, Superintendent Holmes. Mr. Encinas and I are bringing forward the Fair Wage and Healthy Family Act's Proposition 206 that was passed November 8th. And we put together a fairly brief PowerPoint that you had the opportunity, hopefully, to review prior to this evening, and just gave you some background, first of all, on what the proposition is bringing forward and the concerns and how they're going to affect Sunnyside. Mary, if you can go down to the next one. Thank you. Prop 206, as I shared, was passed November 8th. It had two parts, two major parts, and people tended to forget the second part, which is a big part in my eyes. But the first part was the minimum wage increase, which was advertised quite heavily and will go into effect June 1st, 2017, which is a few weeks away, and we'll have to have in place. Even though it was passed in November, we've been working very hard at getting this ready and so that we can move forward. The second piece had to do with the mandatory earned paid sick leave. And I'll talk more briefly about that at the end of the presentation. Can you go to the next one? Thank you. The 2006 wage rules, if you've read the proposition, if you've looked at the proposition, digging through it, what comes forward are these specifics that the 2006 prop requires annual increases to the state minimum wage as follows. And it's progressive over the next 4 years. By January 1st, the minimum wage has to go to about $10. And that's going to affect certain positions. And we just passed our new salary schedule for our classified P&T administrative and certified employees. So this is going to put a little crimp on that for us. In January 1st of 2018, it goes to $10.50. January 2019, $11 an hour. And finally in 2020, $12 an hour by January 1st. And then the consumer price index will determine from there, unless something else is done. We won't know that, but we know for the next 4 years, this is what we're going to have to do. So what does this mean for Sunnyside? Well, this means that there are 59 permanent SUSD employees who currently make less than $10. Those are typically on our new salary schedule, grades 1 through 6. That's correct, isn't it, Hector? Yes, 1 through 6. So to adjust each of those 59 employees to $10 an hour is going to cost us $48,500 for the period of January 1 to December 31st of 2017. I'm going to let Hector respond to the rest of this.
Well, go ahead, you're doing great.
He always says it. You're doing good, Dad. You know? What we do and what we've done when we do any kind of changes is, because we've moved to an electronic contract, we do a notice of adjustment. So these individuals, these 59 individuals, will receive their third electronic notice of adjustment that their hourly rate will be going up. And it can range from somebody making, oh gosh, what's the lowest, 990 something?
Well, it'll be really the subs make it 805
Yeah.
for subs. They're
Subs,
going up to
805 to go
10.
up
But
to
as far as
10.
permanent employees, I think it's $9 an hour.
Yeah, so the range, it varies in prices. But one of the things that Mr. Encina's added on this is the impact that we're going to see over the next 3 years. That's pretty critical and that each of you needs to be aware of. Because every year that we're going to be looking at employees who are sitting at that and it has to go up, that number of employees is going to go up every year. To 2020, we'll be looking at 303 employees who are going to have to adjust. So the cost is going to change every year. Any questions on that piece? No? Okay. Can I?
Sure.
Okay, let me just go to the next one. Mary, can you go to the next one? Thank you. And the final piece is the sick leave piece. And this is the one that kind of makes my heart palpitate a little bit because I get a little nervous about what it is that we're going to have to do to ensure that we have all these pieces in place. But the rule that's going to affect Sunnyside has to do, because there were two parts, but the one we're focusing on is employers with 15 or more employees must provide 5 days of sick leave to each employee per year based on hours worked per day. And that magic number is 30 hours. So if an individual works 30 hours for us, we have to make sure they have a minimum of 1 hour for their 30 hours. And that if they accrued paid sick leave over that period of time, which could be a year of 40 hours, that they cap at 40 hours. They cap the days at 5. So if we, and I'm going to use an example of a long-term substitute that we hired in July, who's still in that position, who has gone over that 30 hours, and that we would have had to track every time they hit a 30 hour, there's an hour, 30 hours, there's an hour. We started off with over, I want to say close to 60 long-term subs who we would have had to follow to make sure that they were accruing that time and that we were tracking that time for them. And when it got to 5, it would have been capped, but then also tracking if they used that time. And because they talk about the different ways they can use it, just like any employee, you know, if you're sick, if you have an emergency, or if you need to be out for whatever reason, they have those 5 days that they can rely on. What we're trying to do right now, I'm working with Mr. Encinas, and we're trying to look at what is this going to cost us? What systems do I need to put in place to be able to ensure that our substitutes, whether they're a certified sub, because remember we have pools of subs now. We have a pool of subs for custodians. We have a pool of subs for transportation. We have a pool of subs for ground crew. We have the certified subs, and we have subs, just regular classified subs who may finish their 30 days in the BERT program and then want to come back and continue to sub. So we have all these different groups that we're going to have to look at next year, put a system in place to help track that, and then figure out what those costs are going to be, and that we stay in compliance to what the law is asking us to do. I will bring forward, once we have those systems in place, or what we want to recommend that we put in place to you before July 1, 2017. Probably in the next few months, I'll bring it forward to get your feedback and understanding of how we want to move forward with that. So questions on either one?
Mr. Holmes?
I just want to make a comment just to add to this. Is a discussion that us as superintendents across the city are having as well, with some concerns around how we're going to manage this. So one thing is whether there's agreement or not philosophically on this, it's still the law. And so the concern then is we don't have internal systems to track when someone employed that's a substitute reaches a 30-hour threshold, by which we then track and accrue those 1 hour sick leaves. So that the management of that is quite intense. As simple as that may sound, I mean, when someone's calling in periodically and they may be working in one school or another, and we're sending them out, we're not necessarily managing that they achieve 30 hours over the course of 5 weeks, where they work 6 hours, subbing 1 day. So someone's got to actively manage every single substitute's hours to then put into a system that they've earned 1 hour of sick leave. And then the concern then goes back to we probably just would have to cash them out at the very end, because they can't take a sick leave for an hour when they're substituting in the classroom. And so the management of the logistics of that is quite intense. So as a collaborative, we are revisiting potential options that we can do as a collaborative to work through these fundamental issues.
Mr. Giffen?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, I've heard in the last day or so, at the federal level, they're talking about and we have no idea what this new administration is going to do. Is there something that they can do right away that would delay this being started on the 7th?
My understanding is that each state has the right to establish its own minimum wage. As right now, currently, the state of Arizona, prior to this, our minimum wage is higher than the federal minimum wage, and we had to comply with the state minimum wage requirement. So state supersedes the federal minimum wage in this case.
Okay.
I had a couple questions. One is, in terms of tracking, will the new ERP system Vision help us at all in terms of that tracking, or has that got anything built into it that's...
It should be better than what it is right now, no doubt.
Sounds like famous last words.
And exactly how, I'm not sure yet, because we're just now jumping into that system and learning the different pieces and how they're going to work, and not having a full understanding of it yet. It's one of those things that I don't have a pat answer for.
The second question was on the steps up to the various levels. We've had some discussions about compression and the effects of compression, And because if we don't do anything other than just do these raises, the employees that have been here for long periods of time will be making the same as a new employee in a lot of cases, or close to it.
Yes.
So, where are we at on evaluating compression? Or
Preliminarily, I've done some quick analysis. It's going to cost about $2.8 million to address a compression issue.
Yeah.
in the first year, or in?
Yeah, right off the bat.
Just
In other
right
words,
off the
just
bat.
as a result of this first phase, in other words, if the assumption is, if I was making $8.05 an hour before, and I'm going up to 10, that's $1.95 more than I used to make. So the person that was making $10 an hour before said, well, wait a minute, where's my $1.95? And the person making 11 saying, where's my $1.95? So to implement that $1.95 across the board to all positions would be about $2.8 million.
And
Just for that
First year.
for the $10, and then another 50 cents the following year. I mean, you're talking about another $250,000 to implement that.
And so by 2020, it could be
It
substantial.
should be $6 million.
Yeah, it could be way above what Mr. Encinas put on the slide was just dealing with those.
Those individuals.
Those individuals who we know this will impact.
That's a separate issue that
Yeah.
we're all faced with. Yeah.
And we're in discussion and we've talked about it, but we wanted to get this piece in place because we have to have it done prior to the winter break. So we're at this piece now. The next piece is looking at the compression, looking at what we need to do, and bringing you recommendations about both the sections of Prop 206.
And so no board action is required at this point because we have to implement under state law, so
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, it's informational for you to know how we're moving forward.
The other thing too is that it also impacts substitutes. It also impacts any contracted service that we contracted with, specifically Southwest Foods. And in my conversations with Mr. Oakley, approximately 75% of his employees make less than $10 an hour. So there will not be any food service employee making less than $10 an hour starting January 1st.
any other questions from the board?
I'm sad. Oh, I'm worried that.
God only knows they need the money, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fortunately, our food service department and our food service operation has been run very efficiently. And the ending cash result, the balance has been substantial enough to be able to handle this increase, so that it will not be a dramatic effect on the program, nor cost of.
And we don't have a choice at this point.
No. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is scary.
Next item on the agenda is request for future agenda items. I'm not going to take any from Mr. Giffen because no. No, I'm just teasing. Mr. Giffen, do you have any future agenda items?
Well, now, for every meeting next year.
Do we get an hour?
No, not a thing at this time, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Giffen. Ms. Quintero?
Not at this time.
And I don't have any. Mr. Holmes?
We will be bringing back the solar request. We are doing a little bit more due diligence on pricing and schools, and so we didn't want to rush it, although there is a short window. So we will be coming back very quickly as soon as we get a little bit more information to present to the governing board on converting to solar.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Mr. Encinas?
May I have some time just to express my appreciation for all your dedicated service to the district and your support for everything we've done. So I thank you very much. I know I was going to say this, but I'm going to age you a little bit and give people an idea how long you've been here. I recall when I was younger, I had to get Mr. Giffen's signature. It was late evening, and it was kind of dark, and so I drove up to his house with the documents, and this female answered the door, and I said, "Yes, is your father home?" And she said, "Yeah, Eric." It was Mrs. Giffen that answered the door. So that's how old Mr. Giffen and I have gotten.
So, well, thank you very much, Mr. Encinas.
Mr. Holmes?
And just briefly, I know it's off the agenda, so I won't break open meeting laws, but just as people are departing, just in the back, this will be a new trend that this bulletin board will be done by our schools every month. so that we're highlighting our schools. And the first one is Gallego Intermediate, who's just showing off their schools, and so we'll rotate that every month with a new school that will decorate the bulletin board, just as we do in our schools as well.
Yeah, it looks good there. It should have been there all along.
Very nice.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Is there a motion? Eric, I'll
You want to
let
make a
you.
motion?
Mr. Crouch, at this time, I would move we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, meeting adjourned. Thank you so much.